focusing not a lot of windows. And so one of the things we always want to do in our new libraries is really be extroverted to the community, not introverted. So be able to, from one inside the building, connect out, and whether that's in an urban setting or the park setting, really connect with your environment. And also then people outside the library can see into the library and all the action and stuff going on. So really be an attractor. This is a library that David and Carrie and Nick and I worked on that opened in south of Portland that's actually in a park on a wetland, so very similar. And we really stitched it in to honor that place. And David, my throat's going a little bit, so maybe you want to take over.
Yeah, you bet. I will try to live up to Laura's reputation here. So I think the other thing is the ability, not just for being able to kind of see nature and connect to it, to the outdoors that way, but I think especially on your site here, we're looking for ways that the library itself can connect to the outdoors, where people that are inside are invited to kind of go out and explore the site. Also, other ways of connecting just internally, like there are so many more kinds of events now that happen at libraries. Everything from impromptu concerts to literally people sometimes are getting married in them, to art shows and galleries. We want to make space that can accommodate that kind of variety and really anything that your community can dream up. We are looking at the library also as a vehicle for education around sustainability. There will be sustainable strategies this building will pursue, and we like to find ways to actually have the building be a demonstration of those. So when people come, whether it's solar panels or green roofs, that there are, they come out there and they leave with a deeper understanding of sustainable practices in building. Libraries are also these places. They're not just about coming to get books, like Laura said. It's also you come there to go and do things, either on your own or with friends and colleagues. Whether it's literally making, where you're actually doing projects and crafts and things like that, or if you're putting out your own podcast. The kid spaces are really one of our most favorite things to kind of get engaged with. We like that kids learn as much through moving and play and involving their bodies in kind of learning. And so we like to make kid spaces that are really active, where they can not just engage their minds, but their physical selves. And then we also want to acknowledge that we also try to make them really great places for adults too, because kids rarely this little show up there on their own. So we try to make it really great for everybody. The teen spaces, they need their own space. They're at that point where they've kind of had enough of adults, and they're out of the kid space and they want their own. And so we try to make spaces where they get to feel that kind of ownership over it, where they can move the furniture around, they can make their own kind of setups, and also have a variety where they can be meeting with one another, one-on-one, or by themselves, or in a big group playing video games. We like to separate them acoustically, but we like to keep them visually kind of in sight, so you can kind of just make sure everything going on in there is the right thing to be going on. Also, all of that innovation is not at the expense of what libraries have always been, which is places to be quiet and get focus. In the upper right is just an example. Sometimes it's just where we locate those kind of quiet spaces. Often we like to put them kind of toward the ends of a space where you don't have people moving through them. It's a destination, and you can go there, and it's quiet and focused like your traditional library would be. We also like to provide smaller spaces that can sometimes be for one or two people that you can just kind of pop into and have a quiet conversation on cell phone if you need to, or nowadays, on a laptop over Zoom. And that's not just for one or two people, but a variety of meeting sizes. With the pandemic and whatnot, the demand has gone up on libraries to provide this kind of space. People are doing a lot of working from home, and having a place in their community where they can go and have be able to actually participate in a digital meeting is something that libraries can provide. And also just understanding how service is provided. The traditional help desk is kind of really getting rethought in a lot of ways. The librarian isn't trapped behind that now. They're actually able to kind of be out and be guides to help you filter all the information that's out there. We don't have a problem getting our hands on information these days. It's figuring out what information we should listen to and pay attention to. Also, within the opportunity, another opportunity within the library is to think about how we can really celebrate things that are unique to your culture. This is a community on the East Coast that was a fishing, focused community, and so we actually, the architect in this case actually incorporated a basket, a fishing collection basket to actually enclose their kind of heritage collection. That tracked all the genealogy for people in the community. And so thinking about special opportunities, understanding what's important to you and the identity of your community, and finding ways to integrate that into the architecture of the library. Making it adaptable. This is a library in San Francisco we did where it was tight on space. And so we actually provided a wall that could open up to the kids' room so that a meeting space, if you wanted a really big public meeting space, we put all the kids' bookshelves on casters, so you could roll them aside and you could actually double the size of the meeting space if you wanted to. And we also want to make sure our libraries are prepared for the future. We don't know what's coming. That's one thing we've learned over the last couple of decades. And so making sure in terms of how they accommodate technology and being able to have movable furniture and things like that is really important. And thinking about what we actually build permanently about the library as being responsive to the things that we always want to be true. Good daylight, beautiful materials, open, flexible space.
Okay, Charlie.
Hi, folks. So does everyone know where the Toppets Park is, right? So we don't have to go through that. The thing that we want to impress upon everyone is that we feel very good about where it's located and what those resources are that are coming to bear within the park and around the community. And so if we think about the site and what's available to the people in the community, also bringing it to the Empire area, there's a good density of folks that live there. And so as the mayor acknowledged earlier, it's not about being downtown or in Empire or what have you. It's in Coos Bay. And so we think there's some advantages to this relocation from that fact as well. When we think about the specific site, if you think about Toppets Park, what is the first thing you think about? It's the trees and the lakes themselves and just this abundance of nature. And we want to impress upon you that as the design team and the library team thinks about the site, we're very cognizant of that sensitive quality and the fact that we need to create a blended condition. It's not an imposition, but it's really the two working together and that mutually beneficial quality that can come from this. So we're very much aware of how that is coming to bear. So we've all been there. We've all appreciated the wonderful qualities of the site and the trails and the views and the vistas. And as we think about where the building and these amenities can go, we're taking into consideration that existing fabric, the existing networks, both from an ecological standpoint and also from our cultural standpoint. The other really special thing about the site is its scale. So we know that the parcel that we're working with is about 20 acres, or the available land is about 20 acres. It has that flexibility, but really the park is much, much vaster, much larger. And as we think about going into the park, you can imagine walking down that trail and leaving kind of the pressure of life behind and engaging nature. And we're thinking about that as these contours of immersion. So as you move into the park, you become more immersed. And that's a factor that we're thinking about and we're considering as we view these potential development sites, so that wherever we place the library, we are not compromising the quality of that immersive experience, but at the same time, people that are using the library get to enjoy some of that immersive experience. So finding that delicate balance is part of our exploration. And of course, it's the views into the park, but also views out of the park that will contribute to that balance. So if we acknowledge how people move through the park, if we think about it from outwards in, The dashed line represents your county shuttle system, that transit system. Currently does not stop here in Newmark, but the library has engaged, is engaged in conversations with them, and they're interested in the idea of adding a stop here at Hull or at Newman to be able to allow that that added benefit of getting people here to the park. So it benefits the park and it benefits the library. The Ks are kiosks for